Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. I'm so happy to see you again. Today I want to do a detailed match analysis of my World Championship match in Doha against Vice Olympic champion Truls Moregard. I want to show you some deep insights, how I analyze my matches, how I think about my matches on the outside and the inside. I just want to take you in the pro's perspective. Hopefully I can give you a feeling how it feels to play against Truls, and hopefully I can help you improve by watching this video. Let's go!
It's always interesting when you get a match-up in the opening round of the World Championships between players who know each other.
So what we saw here, as I explained in my other videos, I did a good half-long service. Truls didn't do a strong banana, but what he did was he really played the ball well into my right pocket. So you see his flip, his backhand banana wasn't fast, but it was so hard for me to react because the placement was good. The right pocket is always a great placement.
But certainly they will have a pretty good grasp on the opponent. Gosh, what an exchange that was.
So why I didn't win this point, let's rewatch that point. I made a very good banana into his forehand, but I didn't really do it just in the forehand. I really hit the corner of the table. What happened? He had difficulties returning this ball, but the problem was that when he returned the ball, I played the ball into the middle side of his backhand. I didn't really play on the other corner, so he managed to return that ball. I stepped around and I was going to swing it into his right pocket, but he really did it well. He reacted well and gave me a good block. Problematic service receive. I just gave him the ball like this, so he attacked.
Really pushed.
Yeah, this point was good. I did a good serve, and what the difference here was that I really played this backhand down the line on the edge of his forehand. It is the fine detail that makes the difference. However, there's something to improve in this point. Let's rewatch that point. Great serve. That is almost half long, but the second bounce is on the white line, or in this case in Qatar on the golden line of the table. So he don't manage to make a strong backhand banana. And here you see the placement into his deep forehand. He returns the ball, and again, I didn't play in the deep other corner, which I should have done, because then it would be much more difficult for him to return. And I just played on the middle here, not into his right pocket. He returns it, and now I'm playing a great deep placement, and that's my point. I could have done it earlier, to win the point earlier.
8 apiece.
This 8-8,
might be one of those
problematic forehand receive again, just giving him the ball.
Intriguing chapters to it.
That's something I really need to work on my forehand receive.
Number one is his.
What happened here in the last point, the first time of the match, I wanted to surprise him and I gave him a no-spin serve into his forehand. So I thought, he might do a forehand flick, which he didn't do. I was surprised. I was just like, what was happening? And yeah, he won the point. So the first set summary is definitely that he won a lot of points by my passive forehand receive, which I'm definitely going to improve. Instead of just giving the ball, I need to work on the ball. I want to give him quality, not just give him the ball so he can attack. That's not gonna work. And the second thing was I quite overplayed the ball sometimes. So I did, just because he's Truls Moregard and Vice Olympic champion, I played more than I need. So maybe you have this problem too sometimes when you're playing against a better opponent, that you tend to risk too much, which is not necessary. Interesting point. Let's rewatch it again. I did a good serve, which was actually half long. He gives me a half long ball into my deep forehand corner. I push it back, but luckily he didn't attack, but the quality was definitely not enough in this ball. He puts it into my corner. I return, he gives me a chance. I attack into his backhand. I attack one more time into his backhand and attack into his forehand. But the problem here was I just attacked, you know. I just gave power, but I didn't think about the most important thing, about the placement. It doesn't matter in this level how hard you hit if you don't have a detailed placement, and so I had to pay my lesson here.
When the iron was hot, Levenko. Moregard able to extinguish all that. Look at him punching through. Kept the bat high, lovely counter, used the pace on the ball to redirect.
Well, Moregard's book is starting to read a little better now.
Yeah, I was lucky here, but my forehand receive wasn't good enough anyway now, so that was just a lucky point. Yeah.
Game by just slowing it down.
So what I like about this point, my forehand long push into his backhand wasn't that good now, but it was better than once before. It had some active movement in it. He gave me a slow first spin, but I didn't want to immediately win the point. I kept calm inside and I tried to slowly go into my game, and I didn't make a mistake by myself. So I make it more harder for him, so he needs to actually win the point instead of me just shooting the balls away. You know what I mean? I like the calmness that I got in this point. I want to reproduce it. That's some good things that I'm gonna take for my next matches against the top of the world players.
Top spin, we call it the dummy backhand.
Win it inelegantly. And that's where...
Yeah, that was just too easy placement 2 times in a row.
Oh,
okay, interesting point here again. Let's rewatch it.
Perhaps, Fraser, the momentum shifted.
So when we rewatch this point, he does a very deep serve. And it's not the spin that makes it hard for me here, but it's the placement, the detail placement. So I'm giving him a real passive push. He's giving me a good push again. I'm giving a long ball into his back and he's starting, but I'm doing a great placement here, which puts him away from the table, and now bam, wrong placement. I should have given him the ball to the deep backhand corner here. So he returns it with an ugly ball, and I paid my lesson here.
Talk about being on the defensive.
His ability to just play purely on instinct. The ball, a little bit of a wiggle. Chop block.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
unfortunate on the
I tried my best here. I mean, it's all the same pattern. It's the placement that matters so much that I need to master.
Moregard's got the lion's share of the last points.
All right, here we see a very good example how important the placement is. So let's rewatch. Okay, he serves in long to my backhand. I slowly, calmly start without the need to rush. Yes, the placement is not perfect, but he returns it diagonal. I'm playing a better placement, not 2 times into his hand, so he needs to move. And now he's going back from the table. And now, okay, I'm playing this ball into his right pocket, which is not that bad, but as I mentioned before, the placement, I should have played it into the deep backhand immediately. And now what I'm doing now, deep backhand, and what happens, I get a perfect ball and make the point. So what we learn here is that the placement is so important, and that it's so good to play deep cross, you know, make him move, make the opponent move again, you know, make him really move into the corners. Yeah, that works a lot.
For a moment, I wondered.
Oh my word, that would have been definitely the shot of the day. Probably one of the best shots of the event.
Yeah, I was frustrated about that one. I started pretty good, but this chop block, I wasn't ready for that. And honestly, in this match, I was so surprised that Truls played so much backhand. I was preparing so much that he would step around and use his forehand really so much, but he wasn't at all. And he was so much focused on his backhand, which really surprised me and didn't work out with my strategy, you know. On the other hand, now I see how many points I've won playing over his forehand. So for the next match, I'm definitely going to play a very different strategy to really play much more over his forehand.
Because even there, even with the net cord, I didn't get a break. Well, it was great.
That's a cool point.
But Levenko this time, when he had Moregard by the scruff of the neck, kept the grip.
Pretty cool. I won the point playing deep into his forehand.
Was certainly right there from Levenko's point of view, because he's transformed the way this game is going.
Again, Truls gave me feedback about my forehand receive, and that's definitely something that I will work on a lot, because he won a lot of points in crucial moments when I gave him that slow forehand receive. It should be active and strong, and it shouldn't just be a giving ball, you know. It should be active, contact point, and same way as I teach it in my videos.
New to watching table tennis, also worth scrutinising the shape of the bat in some cases as well, particularly the gentleman from...
Well done by Truls here, but why did this happen? Okay, I serve, he does a good banana, I'm playing it, good placement, but still the placement is too easy. I need to make him move, but instead I just play the balls here. Make your opponent move. One step is more than 1 millisecond, so make your opponent move, make it hard for him.
From Sweden, Truls Moregard. That
easy mistake.
Flair, that finesse.
He's tried it. Oh, he went for the hands.
I'm actually happy he didn't hit that ball, because I didn't want him to finish the match off with a ball like that.
The win by doing that. What an impressive victory.
And this was the first step around he did in this match. I was so surprised. So first of all, I think I learned what I need to work on. I'm really happy that I played against the world top player. So he really showed me the truth. He really, like a mirror, he showed me what I need to work on. I need to work on my detailed placement. I need to work on my inner self, that I no need to rush too much, but instead stay calm when playing the points. Third point is that I really need to work on my forehand receive. My forehand receive gave him too many easy points. I just gave him the ball like this instead of making difficulties for him. I'll definitely work on this. And then a big point when playing against so strong players like Truls, they carry a certain aura with them. They won big titles. He's a vice world champion and vice Olympic champion. And sometimes when I play against these players, I gotta be honest with myself, I tend to overplay points. So what does that mean? I do more than necessary, because the points where I've played a good placement, where I calmly played the ball on the table, that was the points that I won. That was that made difficulties to him, because I didn't make mistakes. I forced him that he needs to win the points, and that's much more difficult. Sometimes maybe you know that when you play against better players, you tend to overplay things. But instead, when you catch yourself doing this, stay calm and focus on the detailed placement. That's something I learned here, and that will make me stronger. And another thing, that Truls was very good. The first two balls, his serve and receive, and these short balls through my forehand made me a lot of difficulties. So what I'm going to do now in the training, I'll work so much on my first two balls, day and night. Step by step, you know, there are no losses, they're only transformations, because it's information. Your opponent gives you the guide. He guides you into improvement. So he shows you what you need to work on. Maybe it's your mental game, maybe it's these things, maybe it's both. Like for me, there are so many interesting things that I can improve. I'm so happy about it. And yeah, I went to Doha for just 4 sets. You can see it like that, but these 4 sets gave me the information I need to work on at home. And I'm so happy about it. I hope I could help you out, give you a few gems that you can use on your journey too. You can comment as much as you want. I'll try to answer all of them. Thank you guys.